Good evening, everyone, and a warm welcome to the next in our Speaker's Corner of Woodside Park Synagogue. Tonight, we are truly honored, an absolute privilege to travel all the way to Israel. We have with us Yaki Asael, a very, very special guest who will be able to share his unique perspective and insight. He is a farmer and somebody who works the land of the Holy Land of Israel. And being that we are in a shmita year, we are going to be able to have a personal insight into what it means to keep shmita and to work the land and the challenges that Yaki and those incredible heroes of Israel that they face in being staunch supporters and upholders of the lofty standards of keeping shmita, which we are so proud. Erev Tov Yaki, אתה שומע? Do you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you, אני שומע.
Okay, excellent, excellent. So we're going to speak in, your English is very good, probably better than mine. So we're going to speak in English or American tonight. So firstly, tell us, where are you speaking from? Where do you live?
Okay, good evening. I live in Susia. It's in the southern part of Har Hebron, close to Hebron. And it's a mountainous area, high up in the mountains, Israel speaking, very cold. And we have vineyards, and we have olives for olive oil, and we have our own olive press.
Wow. How long have you, I mean, has your family always lived there and been in the business of farming? How did you get into this?
No, we are here close to 40 years.
Okay.
I'm Yerushalmi originally. My wife is Tel Avivit originally.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a big change from Tel Aviv to...
So we both knew as youth that we want to raise our children in a farm and outside the city, way back in the woods, like the Americans say.
Yeah.
We did.
And so immediate. So you got married. Tell us the story. I mean, how did you end up on a mountain in near Haman?
I got married when I was released from the army, and I went to learn in Yeshivat Merkaz Harav after the army. And after that, I went to the Faculty of Agriculture in Rehovot. I majored in applied biology, agriculture.
Yeah.
And then we started here in Yatir, which is close by, which was like a cooperative agriculture. We didn't like it. We wanted our own private farm. And we started with the flowers. We exported flowers, cut flowers to Europe and also local market. Then we gradually switched to organic fruit farm, the deciduous orchards like plums, cherries, and apricots and all. And gradually we came back after all these things to the native Geffen Vezait, the vineyards and the olives, which are native here, and going average through the years, it's less problems, less polar problems.
Right. So you're making wine and olives, and is that mainly for the export market or is that for the local market?
No, with the wine we don't make ourselves. We don't have our own winery. We grow the wine, the grapes, very very good quality, and they go to two special wineries here. One is called Yaki Yatir. They export a lot. We have Cabernet Sauvignon and Muscat of Hamburg, and the olives we have our own label and our own oil. We even won some contests with the oil quality. So that's ours. That's what we do. Aside of
Right.
that, I teach also in the Michlala in Yerushalayim.
Wow.
I'm in Tanakh for years, so I had very good teachers, and so I teach Ramim and people who come on the Michlala to make first degree in teaching.
Right. So that's a long commute. So you've got to go from the north all the way to Yerushalayim.
Yeah, in a way, yeah.
Right. So tell us. So we're in and just to give us some idea, how much are you producing a year on your fields?
We have 30 dunams. It's in Israeli scales. It's a medium-sized family farm in Israeli scales. In European and American scales, it's very, very small. But the yields here are very high per acre, more than a lot of very, let's say, advanced places of agriculture in the world, including the States, Australia,
Right.
and we go for quality. So we usually, on a good year, we have like about 20 tons of grapes and about 10 tons of olives, which is not so big, but not so small.
Okay. Very, very interesting. So now, Yaki, I guess we understand what you produce. Now we come to the big question and quandary that every farmer has in Israel. There's this concept. We're going to explain it. I hope you'll explain it a bit to the community, to the wider community of shmita, that only really operates in Israel. The idea of the sabbatical year, that you leave your land fallow. You're not allowed to grow. You're not allowed to produce. So tell us, I mean, if I told any one of the people that are watching live or watching catch up later on, and I said, you know what, I want you to leave, you're not going to go to your business for the next year. You're going to stay at home. Don't worry. It's going to be okay. I think they would think that I've lost my mind. Tell us, about what does it mean to be a farmer in a shmita, a sabbatical year, and what are the rules? What are you allowed to do? What are you not allowed to do?
Okay, there's the macro and the micro. So
okay,
we'll start from the general thing. The general thing is, in the shmita, I'm not the boss. I'm not the landlord. Lishmot in Hebrew means to abandon, to let go. By the way, to let go in Western Europe culture is a very psychological smart thing that most people don't do. Family, everywhere, in education, just let go. Let Hashem do some things also. He knows what he's doing. Now, this sounds maybe sarcastic or even funny, but most of us, we get used throughout the 6 years, especially in agriculture, when you plan everything, you do everything. You get used to misjudge reality by the thought that you're leading your parnasa. I'm feeding myself. That's a mistake.
Yeah. You're the boss.
Yeah, and you think that you're the boss. So Hashem tells you, listen, 6 years, you're the boss. We have an agreement. That's the deal. 1 year, you're not. Now, in that 1 year, we do it every Shabbat. We don't work on Shabbat also. Why don't we work on Shabbat? You lose money. Okay, that's 1 day. But the whole year, it looks, well, 1 day, we can understand. But a whole year, and all the crops, and it's something are annual, something are perennial. How can you just leave them?
Right.
Hashem, if he feeds the elephants and the lions up to the viruses, Rahman el-Islam, and everything, and then the fun, so he can feed us also. The problem is that we get used to the thought that we feed ourselves, and the Shemitah reminds us that it's not this way. But now you can say, well, it sounds very nice, but tachles, how do you? You're not working, you're not producing, I'm not selling anything, I'm not allowed to sell. The major concept of the Shemitah is not only the land and not only the farmer, it's the market, it's the business, it's the leave all the intricacies of the market, all the, I don't want to say honesty in marketing throughout the world. Well, marketing is not exactly the most tzidkes thing that people do. So leave it now. Just abandon and let Hashem do it. So, and it comes out that it's not the first Shemitah that we keep. Bracha in the 6th year, we saw it ourselves.
What do you mean? What do you mean? What did you see in the 6th year?
I mean, double prices in the 6th year, double yields, even more than double. And we saw it already. We had a plum orchard that was a little schleppy, and in the 6th year, it made like 3 times as much, and
amazing.
And the market kidnapped it. And you can't. And I didn't. There was one shmita that until 2 days before Rosh Hashanah, I didn't know what I'm going to do. At that time, I was also in gardening. I learned planning and everything. And in shmita, you can't do in the gardening much. And 2 days before Rosh Hashanah, the guy who runs the Moitzai Zorit, how do you say, the regional council, came to me, offered me a job in the security. And I found myself in the Shemitah with a car and a salary and a cell phone at that time. By the way, it's cell phone. I'm talking about 1992. Okay? It's not like today.
No one had a cell phone then.
No. It was a big box that was worth about $5,000 or something. And I didn't plan it. Now, it's not that I'm wiser than anybody. No. It's just let Hashem, there's a vote of the Rebbe Mikotsk asked once his students, the Hasidim, tell me, where was Hashem? He's everywhere. He said, no. He's where you let him go in, enter. When you let him enter, he's there. The same thing goes for Shemitah. We block the siyata d'shmaya with our own bare hands a lot of times. And we just have to, don't interfere. Just leave. Hashem is not going to make you starve to death. He won't. By the way, Shemitah is good for the diet also. Okay, eat a little less.
Yaki, tell us, it's fascinating. What happened? I mean, last Shmita, I was in Israel and I went in the summer and I was invited by a farmer onto his land. He had grapes. And I remember that he said, help yourself. So I'm British. So British, I'm very shy. I'm very, conservative with a small c. So therefore I took a little grape. He said, no, take a few more. And then this truck arrived with these Israelis and they stripped it. They stripped the whole thing of all the grapes. How do you manage? I mean, you see people that come into your fields. I mean, what are you allowed to do? What are you not allowed to do? How do you behave in Shmita? Tell us.
Okay, that's a little complicated. Since the food has to be abandoned, it's called in halacha afkata de malka. Kadosh Baruch Hu he's the landlord, so even if you don't, there's a machloket in the Rishonim whether if you didn't abandon, if it's abandoned or not. So leave it aside. Once I can't tell people you're not allowed to go in. Yeah.
Yeah.
We used to use guard dogs because of the Arabs, so I used to close them. Okay, I had to close them. Usually they will patrol on all the vineyard in the nights, and I locked them, and people could come in, and now they are allowed, according to halacha, everybody is allowed to take what's called mazon gimel sudot, which means what you would buy on the market for your family from 1 week to another, let's say, not even 3 meals, much more. If it's something like wine, a yearly consumption for product that is from once a year, okay, like olive oil
Okay.
also. But to go with the truck now, I can't tell them don't take. I'm interested that they will take off the food, because food that stays on the trees, there's a term in biology which is called metabolic sink. The food on the tree absorbs, because of hormone things, absorbs a lot of nutrients, much more than I'm interested. Now, once you pick them, that's a normal stage. But in the shmita, you don't pick them. That could be some kind of a damage on the long run. Just like I don't prune, because pruning is, according to most of the poskim, is doraita in grapes. So I don't prune at all. Once I don't prune the vineyard, it grows like wild with a lot of clusters. And on the 8th year, I have to fertilize like much more. So it costs more. So, okay, listen, some Yidden buy in Yom Kippur the maftir for 20,000 shekels. I buy the shmita, the irrigation, for 25,000 shekel. I think it's a greater mitzvah than buying the maftir.
I think you're right. So what are you allowed to do? If somebody came and they said, Yaki, I'm coming to your field, what are you allowed to do to maintain that field in shmita? How do you spend the whole year if you're not working on the field?
Okay, so I'm allowed to do what's called in halacha leukmei. There's a term leukmei, which means give the tree, stabilize him, so he won't go backwards. Let's put it this way.
But won't deteriorate. Yeah,
exactly, won't deteriorate. But I'm not allowed lavouer, which means to enhance him,
to improve. Yeah,
exactly. So, which means I don't fertilize. I just irrigate. How much to irrigate? Now, this thing of leukmei is very flexible. So that's what I do. I don't plow. I don't fertilize. I can spray if there's something that will be a damage on the long run, like some fungus or things that will stay in the vineyard for next year. I'm allowed to do that. That's the banana also. But as far as marketing, one thing that most people don't understand about shmita, even in Israel, is that the main thing is that you're not allowed to sell the same quantities, sell the same way, export. You're not allowed to export. You can't take the fruit which is in kedusha and give it to the animals, unless it's something that is in a regular year fed to the animals. Okay, so it's got to be on a very high level. Now, your second question: what do I do in shmita? First of all, I can rest a little from the problems. Now I'm not the landlord, so I have less headaches. I'm serious, less headaches. One thing. Second thing, I learn more. I have more time to learn. Personally, I had very good teachers when I was a kid, so they gave me their way in limud, so I can open books much more. Once you're in agriculture, you get up in the morning very early to spray when there's no wind. Some nights you don't sleep because you have to guard the thing. I have to look what's going on. It's a lot of worrying. Part of this worrying in shmita is on a much lower level.
Okay. Okay.
And you also, it's a kind of a rest that I don't know the word in English. Shchika. Shchika means like I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted after 6 years. I came to the shmita. Something you do in this end of the 6 years fast to do this and that. It's like Shabbat. Shabbat
Like
comes.
Yeah.
No. You can't do it's good that you can't do anymore. You can't work. What's cleaned is cleaned. What is cooked, and that's it.
That's it. Right.
Yeah.
Right. So in Israel, what percentage or how many farmers are like you keeping shmita nowadays?
Unfortunately, not much. I don't know. I can't tell you percentages, but it's not 80%. And it's not even 50, and I don't think it's even 50. Most of the farms do or heter mechira or tzar beidin. Heter mechira I don't do because after learning the thing from the inside.
So 1 second, Yaki, just for the uninitiated, heter mechira means that you sell the land to non-Jews, for the duration of shmita, and then you would buy it back. And therefore, they can get round shmita so that they don't lose, and therefore they're not selling their stuff; they're selling someone else's.
Yeah,
okay.
And that's a bypass that was allowed by the poskim about 150 years ago when things were really, really bad here, when people were starving, really starving. Baruch Hashem, today we don't lack nothing. Nobody's starving. And if you don't work in agriculture, you can work in something else. I can come and work in something else, or teach, or do other things. Baruch Hashem, if you're not lazy and you're willing to work, there's plenty of things to do. So that's not a teirutz anymore. Now the big farm, I'm very small, but the big ones that have agreements on export, so that's harder. I can't speak for them. I'm not going to educate nobody. Everything that I'm saying here is what I do. Okay, I have both. I'm no criticism of nobody, and I don't want what I'm saying to be misunderstood, that I'm doing right and he and they're doing wrong. No, I'm doing the way I understand shmita, and if I can do it like it's supposed to be done, and even those who do it, they know that that's not the way it was supposed to be done, so I can do it the way it's supposed to be done. That's the way I look at it. I'll tell you another thing. Take not shmita, a regular year, the 4th, the 5th year, you can do anything.
Okay. Yeah.
You do everything. You invest, you plant, you sow, you fertilize, you everything, you greenhouses. And then Kadosh Baruch Hu comes and switches something very small in humidity, in temperature, and pluck, you get nothing. The market collapses. You exported flowers, and the roads in Holland are with ice. So no trucks can leave the airport, and the flowers can't wait. And this movie happened already and could happen again. And you did everything right. Now, who turned the weather? Not people. Kadosh Baruch Hu turns the weather. I didn't meet until today no chacham that can push back a tornado. Even in Texas, they can't.
Correct.
So in Shemitah, that there's a tzivui, there's a command to keep it, then I'm going to be an oiber chucham and not do it. Why?
Absolutely. We hear loud and clear. Very, very important principles. Let me just make clear to our viewers that if anyone would like, in the last few minutes, to ask any questions or comments, please put them in the chat box, put them in the comments, and then Yaki or I can pick up on them. Thank you very much. So Yaki, I mean, you're not getting. None of us are getting younger. I mean, is your plan just to keep going and keep planting and keeping up your what's your dreams for the future?
My dream for the future, first of all, is that politically, I don't want to go into politics, but I'm not a leftist, put it this way. So my dream is that at last Am Yisrael would take possession of Eretz Yisrael the way it's supposed to be.
Okay. And in terms of in terms of you and your family, I mean, your family live nearby, all of them, or are they moved away?
No, we have, Baruch Hashem, 9 children, 8 are married with grandchildren. I'm already a great grandfather.
Wow! Wow!
Yeah, I have,
and where are they all? Where do they live?
Almost all of them in Yehuda and Shomron.
Okay.
Part of them are still in Tzva Keva in the army, and the most elite units that we have, 3 of them, and the others are we have in Yerushalayim, we have in what's called Garinim Toranim, that are established yeshivot in places that the society needs some lifting up. So nobody stayed in the farm here, but we have
nobody went in the family business. Huh?
Grandchildren. The grown-up grandchildren, they are very attached, and they come to work every year. And I think that one of them or 2 of them, once they get married, they will be the successors. The way it looks today, Bezrat Hashem.
So you'll have generations. Please God.
Yeah, hopefully. Look,
and you plan on sticking with the olives and the grapes, or you want to diversify again?
No, I want to expand with them, because once you specify, you learn things. I try to study a lot. I go I learn even in Italian and Spanish a little from the olive growers, that they're the experts, and or in California, I learn from everybody. I go a lot of websites that deal with the professional new things, and I try to learn all the time.
And okay, we've got one question that I'm going to take before we wrap it up. We appreciate tremendously. I know it's late in Israel, so I don't want to keep you. So Richard Dreyfus asked the following question: your explanation of shmita is fascinating. I did not understand whether you allow the Arabs to take olives from your farm during shmita. Also, how old are your olive trees? Okay.
First question, as I said, my left wing is not so strong. The right wing is more important, the way I look at it.
Right.
I try to be polite and not an extremist. If I succeeded, I don't know. So we never hire Arab Goyim workers at all, even Thailandians. We don't hire, just youth Jewish from the yeshivos or ulpanot. They work in the harvest. If it's not mechanized, some of the harvest is mechanized. And now, suppose Arabs will want to come in shmita and take fruit. I won't allow them, because they are bechizkat terrorists, and I even by halacha, I don't have to allow them to go inside the vineyard. And if I will allow them, the army won't allow them, because I don't believe that they will come just to pick the fruits. And they proved this thing a lot of times. So I will stop here, because
because you're saying in any case the army would be concerned about whether it's just the fruit they're picking. Fair enough. And what about the age of your olive trees?
Yeah, we have 2 orchards. One is about close to 30 years old, 26 or 7 or something like that.
Yeah.
very good, most Italian and Spanish varieties. They are special in Israel. Also, they have them a lot in the Golan Heights already. Once they were introduced here, a very fine oil they make. And we have a younger orchard, which is a Rocky orchard, which was planted on a half rock with jackhammers. We use jackhammers to break the rocks, and then we fill soil, and the olives benefit from that, from the chalk, even more than plain soil. The drainage is better and a lot of things. So part of our orchard is like that, and that's the most and the Spanish know this thing also. I didn't invent it; I learned it.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
very, very interesting. Yaki, I want to thank you so much for giving up so generously of your time to educate Anglo Jewry, United Kingdom Jews, about the shmita and about the farm and about your work. We've been exceptionally inspired and impressed with your devotion, dedication, your faith to our people, to the land, and to the HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You know what they say? You know, you've got good oil, but they say, Shem Tov, Mishemen Tov. Yeah. You've got the good oil, but you've even got, much more importantly, a Shem Tov. So please, God, we look forward to following you and visiting you, please, God, in the future after COVID, and seeing the Shemen Tov as well as the Shem Tov. We thank you. We wish you bracha v'atzlacha, only good, health, happiness for you and for your family. Amen. Thank you so much.
You too, and the whole community. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Laila Tov.
Litov.
Thank you for joining us, everyone. Thank you, friends. We're looking forward to being back next week. In the meantime, it's Laila Tov. Good night from me, and good night from Yaki in Jerusalem, in Israel. Take